Hi, Denny Johnson here, and I would like to invite you to an experience about feeling the soul. For me, the structure of the eye is the mirror of one's own soul. That the characteristics and patterns here, like fingerprints or snowflakes, they're completely unique. That they're all composed of the same basic components. So when I look at the structure of the eye, the first thing I like to remember is to feel the constitution. By that I like to recognize that this is a dynamic circulation of life force. This is how the life force is circulating from the soul to the mind through the body. So the experience of being able to look at is an experience of being able to feel each one of these different constitutional types as a dynamic experience of feeling. The structure of the iris for me is a reflection of the dynamics around the body. I've only seen the structure of the iris as a reflection of the dynamic forces of the soul that extends from around the body and through the body. So this is what's circulating through a person. If we look at these different constitutional types, you see they're very different. The way I like to experience it is to imagine just taking a hose and connecting it to the pupil, much like a nozzle on the end of a hose. Turn the water on, and what is the spray pattern? What is the flow of this individual type of structure? You see that this one, it's a round, flowing, dilating. So you can just see the flow pattern in this person quite different from this one. The flow pattern here is more direct and focused. If you were spraying something, there would be jets of water spraying out longer. This spray pattern is more like a fountain in some way. They're very different. This one here, if you connected the nozzle to this end, what you see is a dispersal pattern that's even and flowing, and maybe not as long as this one, maybe not as wide or dramatic as this one, but just different. Each one of these four primary different forms of iris patterns, they relate to the flow of life force. And the way to be able to experience it is primarily an experience of feelings. So, to experience it, just give yourself an opportunity. Imagine yourself stepping inside of this one and feel this dynamic kind of radiant quality. This is a turbulence in a way. This is something that's flowing and it is circulating, and it's not consistent in many ways. It's irregular, but it's also in some ways dynamic. The one next to it is obviously more consistent. There's some consistency here. Less dynamic. It's not a qualitatively different structure. One is not better than the other. This one just has an innate form of unity or firmness or consistency that is about stability. It is about a sense of holding. This is a very different constitutional pattern. Then you look at the next one and you see that it's obviously very different than the other two. To be able to experience this, to feel it, to put yourself inside of it. What does it feel like to be this person or this one here? Notice how that they are very different. The brown little dots, pointed characteristics, angular, straight, versus these open webbed diagrams. Each one of these four is a different quality of soul. One is not better than the other. They just have different natural attributes, different personality patterns, different characteristic creativity. They have their own natural passion in the world. So how do I occupy who I am? How do I learn more about myself? This is what the iris of the eye can do. It can be a mirror of the soul. Now also, you might even consider another metaphor. This is like driving a car, and these are four different vehicles. 4 different ways that they progress. This is like more like a race car, and this is more like a truck, and this is more like something more pointed, and this is like something more colorful. They're all basically different. Or if you want, this gives us clues about how the human soul functions. So if I am a human soul, then I have all 4 of these characteristics, all 4 of these basic ways of being dynamic, being consistent, being alert, being aware. And this one, the capacity to be able to feel or to change. Each one of these 4 is also, using the metaphor of the car again, they're like different qualities of how the car operates. For example, this is what produces movement. This is what produces acceleration. This is something of the stability or the braking mechanism. This is the guidance mechanism. This is the ability to be able to make a choice and to navigate. This is the capacity to be able to store vitality or to be able to create mobile changes in one's own feelings. This is why I look at the iris in this way. I first want to feel the eye. Later on, there's all forms of things that we can analyze about the individual positions and the color and the closeness to the pupil. There's lots of things that the intellect can be involved in. But first, just have a feeling experience of it. And ask yourself, is there something inside you that has the dynamic capacity to move? Is there something that really animates the expression of your own passion in the world? That's pretty much what this iris pattern means to me. Being a living passion in the world. This one here, this is about stability. This is about healing. This is about groundedness. This is about belonging. This is about firmness in the body. Is there something important to me about being firmly in the body? Yes. And this one here, this has a lot to do with the capacity to be able to discover, to find, to increase the understanding or the awareness of something. This is a dynamic human experience. I need this part. I also need the other ones, as well as the last one. This one may well be also the first. This is the experience of the quality of feeling. Now every one of these 4, they have different body systems that they relate to. For example, this one has a body system relating to change. What is the primary body system relative to change? Well, it's cleaning or elimination. This is the water line in the body. This is the metabolic function of the body, the energy potential of the body chemistry function. This is the body system that involves an assimilation or digestion. This is the body system that provides the experience of protection or healing. This is the body system that produces circulatory functions or emotions. This is the processes of being able to be driven or have a goal to achieve something. This has very much to do about friendships and group dynamic functions. So each one of these feeling attributes, they're worth the time to consider. That's what the iris means to me. It's about how to experience the mirror of the soul. We're going to go into a series of these and gradually deepen our recognition of how they work, only as individuals and then as groups or relationship attractions. We'll go into a lot of things. This is a remarkable thing, just to be able to begin to consider the mind-body connection with the soul. To experience the soul, practice the experience of feeling first. That's the greatest mirror I could offer back to you. Study this with feelings first. Come again.